All systems go. Clear for liftoff.
Oh, we're live. We are live. The intro must have just cut out quick, but we're back. Another episode of PGA DFS First Look Houston Open. Houston Open is we're finally out of Florida for what's been like, 4.5 weeks in Florida. Feels good to be at home for a week. I'm not traveling for all the time, but yeah, another episode, Houston Open. Happy to be talking some Texas golf. I'm not the biggest fan of Texas golf, but it is what it is. We have to, I guess, handicap it, have to go about it in a certain way. Memorial Park, a golf course that we've seen for 5 years now or 4 years now. I think one of them was kind of twice in 1 year because they moved it from the fall to March where we have it now. So let's go through what we usually do. Bring up the thread, bring up everything, bring up the stats, the information, all the course. And yeah, let's do it. So screen is here below. Go over to my Twitter. Go take a look at this thread. There is a discount code on the bottom once you go through the thread. This is one of the most straightforward handicaps, I guess, of the year, straightforward golf courses that we see on a yearly basis. And it's basically like, just for example, obviously, I came over from Vincerix and my boss, Adam, he is does a lot of the stats, a lot of the numbers. And I texted him, send me the Houston Open report for the week. And he goes, don't even worry about it. Just nuke. And I'm like, you're right. Why am I going to overcomplicate this? It's literally just nuke it as far as you can and make birdies from there. But I'll go through this thread, and I did dig a little deeper, more than just simply nuke. So since moving here in 2021, we've seen the theme. Distance matters a lot. Simply hit the ball as far as you can. You don't have to necessarily lead the field in driving distance, but you need to be long. The winners have been long. Look at these past winners: Minwoo, Jaeger, Finau, Jason Kokrak, and Carlos Ortiz. A little bit different, but all longer than average. Carlos Ortiz is one of the shorter ones, but everyone knows you play Carlos in Houston. So this is really interesting. These are their incoming rounds with a spike in distance. So these are their last 10 starts before they won in Houston. Minwoo, Jaeger, Finau, Kokrak all spiked 9 or 10 times within distance. That's every single week they are having a distance spike leading up to their win. Ortiz was a little bit of an outlier, obviously only won. Ortiz was not in good form at all when he won here. That was kind of the first time this golf course was seen. So I guess you could take that with a grain of salt. But the last 4 years, we've seen the golfers come in absolutely nuking it before they won. It's like, not necessarily did Minwoo or Jaeger or Finau finish top first in distance, finish top 5 in distance, but they all came in spiking in distance before their win at Memorial Park. So that is the clear aggregate differentiator that we're looking for this week. Spike in distance coming in. You can attack it off the tee. Wide corridors, limited penalty, just like we saw Minwoo last year, nuke it all over the place and get away with it. Weather-wise, I'm going to get into the weather, but it's looking dry. This could allow some of the shorter hitters to stick around, but it's just going to make the bombers have even less into the green. So outside of just distance, you need to finish it off on and around the greens. These are tricky greens complexes. You don't have to be the best around the green player, which I'll talk about right here, but you need to be okay around the greens. Kokrak was able to get rid of it, get rid of some poor around the green play and still win, but the rest of the guys did have good around the green play to win, and I think this matters more than this Kokrak one. But the putting is massive here. All 5 of these winners finished top 5 or better in putting for the week, and very similar to Valspar last week. The combined strokes gain over the last 5 years is 37.7 winner. So 37.7 strokes gain putting. That's average 7.5 strokes per winner. So you have to be able to pop with the flat stick. That's no question. So TLDR, bomb it, take advantage of these wide fairways, have some birdie chances, and gain strokes putting. So we're looking for a guy who can nuke. The most predictive thing that we could find is a guy coming in good distance form. Not one of those winners necessarily was coming in great putting form. Putting pops really randomly, but you have to be able to pair that spike distance with a good flat stick. So that's what we're looking for. Here are the recent winners and the strokes that they won by. Minwoo got it to -20, Jaeger -12, Tone -16, Kokrak -10, Los -13, and these two were the first ones that were in March. The rest of these were in November. So the course could have played a little bit differently, pending it was a different time of year. Let's look at some of the weather for the week. We have Memorial Park pulled up here. Leading up to this event, we have dry conditions, pretty fair wind, nothing crazy, warm temperatures, 65 to 85 degrees. It's probably a really nice week to be in Houston. Come tournament time, potential, maybe a Thursday AM, PM split. Look at this wind. 8 a.m. to noon. Basically nothing, some gusts up to 20. And then once you get to after the afternoon, the wind picks up, it turns to double digits, and the gusts get a little stronger. So I'm not saying this is a lock. This could change Wednesday, and tune into Alex and Tambo's show. They might do a better job at explaining this. This is also Monday afternoon, but something to potentially monitor. Maybe a little bit Thursday advantage. And then when we get to Friday, we don't have the 1 hour splits yet, but looks fairly straightforward in terms of weather on Friday. Expecting no rain at all, so it should be a dry, calm week in Houston. Guys should be very confident off the tee. Guys should be making birdies. Guys should it should be a very prime week for scoring, a prime week for we're going to see some really long drives this week. Talking about DraftKings contest selection, we need to go to golf. So we have some, here we go, Texas Children Opens. We have some interesting contests this week. I really love the payout in the $5 150 max. So obviously you don't have to enter all of these lineups, but I love this payout structure. 30K up top, and then 10th place gets 3K. This is as solid as I've seen this, as solid as I really would love to see a payout structure. So you don't have to enter 150 lineups. I think you put 4 lineups in this, it's going to be hard to beat 71,000 people, but it's a very fair payout structure if you have a very unique lineup, and build in that way. If you're entering 150 lineups, you're going to build in a specific way. If you're entering in a 4 to 5 lineups in a 71,000 person contest, you got to get really different, really unique. Drop your questions for Alex and Tambo in that regard. Let's take a look at this DFS board while we are here. Scottie Scheffler leads the way at 14.8 with a massive jump down to Minwoo Lee at 9.9. Very interesting, but I want to take a look at Scottie Scheffler while we are here because he's in some questionable form. Really questionable form. He had his best approach week since his T3 at TPC Scottsdale, and best approach week only gaining 1 on approach is saying something. Scottie Scheffler has failed to finish inside the top 10 since Pebble Beach. Let's do a real long deep dive. Let's see the last time Scottie Scheffler had 3 straight weeks that were not inside the top 10. Might be a while. It could be a while. We have nope. Bear with me here because this is something. This is nope, not here. We had 2 weeks there. This is something. Scottie Scheffler has not finished outside the top 10 in 3 consecutive weeks. Okay, I found it. This is Eastlake 2021 to Byron Nelson 2021. That is a very long time. No, it's right here. It's 2022. It's this little run right here. 2021 to October to August of 2021. So clearly, Scottie Scheffler is in, I guess you could say, the worst form that he's shown since that period of time. But heading back to Houston, a golf course that he's played really well at. Like, look at this. T28. No, sorry. Back in, it was Memorial Park. T2, T9, T2, T2. He's never finished worse than 9th here. He comes in some questionable form. He comes in at a number that's not bettable, but you got to, I guess, structure your card in a certain way in the future if you want to bet Scottie Scheffler. I could see myself going to the without Scottie Scheffler market in terms of betting. But here, DFS, I think starting with Scottie Scheffler, then finding some nukers down the bottom is the way that I'm going to be doing it. So Scottie Scheffler at 14.8 is interesting, worth a look for sure. Another guy that I want to take a look at down this DFS board is Michael Thorbjornsen at $8,600. Michael Thorbjornsen, right here, comes in off of a T22 at TPC Sawgrass where he lost 4.5 strokes in the final round. He was in the final group with Ludwig, had a nice, and he still gained strokes across the board. It wasn't a bad week for Thorbjornsen, but it was definitely a disappointing result based on where he was going into the final round. So Thorbjornsen is a golfer who surely is long. So far in 2026, he is 17th on the tour in driving distance. We know he's coming in gaining strokes in terms of distance to the field, and that's what we're looking for so far. He's gained strokes in putting in his last 3 events, 4 of 5. And looking at his course history here, he's got one finish, T25, was a bad approach week. Not horrible putting week, but he gained 4 strokes off the tee. At $8,600, we know what his upside could be. I think this is a really, really good golf course for Davis Thompson. Let's take a look at the betting board. Bear with me while I bring this up. The betting board for the Texas Children's Houston Open, very similar to the DFS board. Scottie 3.5 to 1, and it's a big jump from Minwoo to 18. So if you're not betting Scottie, there's definitely room to build a card if you're starting at any of these numbers. So we know some guys will be popular. We know some guys could give you some value in this like 30 to 31 range plus. But a golfer that catches my eye on this betting board doesn't come until we get to like 60 plus to 1, and that's Davis Thompson. Now, Davis Thompson is not coming in great form at all. He popped in round 1 of the Valspar and then finished off with a T46. He had one of the best rounds of the day in round 1. It was all kind of putter, but we're seeing some better approach play. It's not there yet, but I think that it's trending in the right direction, and it could pop soon. Once you get back to this 2, 3, we know what he could do. He could gain 5 strokes on approach easily. Not saying that approach is the way to go around here, but he's never missed a cut here. He's gained strokes putting every time. I know it's little gains. And also, something that we're looking for is the distance. Looking at Davis Thompson's distance, he is 41st on the entire PGA Tour in driving distance. In a field where not the entire PGA Tour is playing, that will be closer to 30th in this field in distance. That's plenty of enough distance to play well here. So Davis Thompson is a guy that checks my eye in the betting board. Before we get to some more players that we like, I want to talk to you about the website. So get over to shipitnation.com. Let me bring up this code. This code right here will get you 10% off. It will get you a free week if you want to use our tools. I never talked about this. We have the value report from Lee Aldrich. Go follow Lee on Twitter if you do not. This will be up. He is overseas, so this comes up at funky times. So it'll be up in very shortly, as well as the projections, the stone, all this stuff. The slate plan, this will all be up come Wednesday afternoon. The projections on our site are never, ever, ever rushed. We probably are the last site that puts up projections, and that is a flex. That is something that we take pride in. We're not gonna rush projections at all. We're gonna wait till they're correct. And I see the questions in the chat. I'll get to them at the end of the show. So use that code and then fly the flag. If you are a DFS player, which you probably are because you're watching the show, go to the bottom, logos. If you fly one of these flags on DraftKings, it costs you $0, and then you do win any money. Say you win $1,000, bang, you get a month of free ship it. Say you win $10,000, another month of free ship it plus some merch, and then that parlays, that adds itself, that builds itself. You're going to have it one free month, and you win another 1,000 the next month. Okay, let's do it again. Let's get another free month that pays for itself. Grab some merch, help us help you. We want you to spend your money on the contests, not the content. And at Ship It, we provide a lot of stuff for the best price. If you want the all access, go over there, use code BOOTS. If you just want the golf, hit PGA Plus Optimizer, get SaberSim, the greatest tools in the game. I would not be working here if I didn't believe in that. So use code BOOTS, 10% off with that code, and you get a free week as well. So the next thing I do want to talk about is a chalky guy, a guy that I believe is going to garner a lot of love in all markets. So let's do that now. Marco Penge. Marco Penge has one good week And all of a sudden, he needs to be in every lineup. All of a sudden, he has to be 30-1. And all of a sudden, Marco Penge has to be the love of the week. Now, does it make sense? Yes. Marco Penge is an absolute bomber. These are the weeks that he needs to know, okay, this is where my game makes sense. This is where I have to be great. And he probably should play well. But I know this ownership is not correct yet, is only Monday afternoon. At 9,100 in his highest price of the year, buying him at his absolute peak in ownership, is that going to pay off? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no. Marco Penge is going to be extremely chalky, extremely high valued, and buying guys who are unproven at their peaks is not something that I ever want to be a part of. If I get beat on this, sure, but it's going to help me fading these guys more times than it's going to hurt me. So Marco Penge is one chalky guy that I will be off. Now let's flip it. Who is one potential pivot, potential low-owned guy that might be getting overlooked that I'm going to play this week? That's Sam Burns. For only $600 more, Sam Burns is extremely more proven than Marco Penge. Sam Burns is coming in not the worst form at all. T13 at Sawgrass, which is not the greatest Sam Burns course in the world. It was all putter, but he gained 2.1 strokes on approach. Off the tee. Sam Burns has played this golf course before. He hasn't played it well. He hadn't played well last year, but he came in with a T7 and a T7. It's a golf course where he can just nuke it off the tee. Sam Burns is a golfer who is long as well, plenty of distance. And Sam Burns is a golfer who has plenty of wins before, knows he can get in. So with Penge eating up all that ownership at 91, people are still going to play Scottie and they love Minwoo here. He's not going to be as owned as he should be. So Sam Burns is a golfer that I absolutely love at $9,700. What else do we want to get out? We want to talk about the model. We want to talk about one golfer that I'm on. So we will skip to the model. The model right now, I will say the model has not been modeling. I track my model results every single week and I see how many times has the model produced a winner. And I think this is the year that we've had the least winners in what, 9 weeks? 9 weeks so far. So I know that it's going to produce winners soon. Like I could actually show you this while I'm here. So I'll show you the model first, and then I'll show you the model results and look at some past history. So here we go. The model. Number 1, Jake Knapp. Number 2, Sudarshan, the Canadian bomber. Number 3, Gary Woodland. Number 4, tied for 4th, Marco Penge, Rasmus Højgaard. And then the tie for 6, Nikolai Højgaard, Gordon Sargent, Scottie Scheffler, Adam Scott, and Jesper Svensson. I model more uniquely than anybody in the entire world. We've built 15 models, 5 different stat lines for 3 different aggregate timelines, and that produced me with this. So just looking at numbers differently, looking at names differently. That's all it is. Anyone can build a model, but I want you to look at my model results and show you how poor they've been so far. Why are we on this? I don't know how we got to this. Bear with me for a second. Google Sheets is where we track the model results. Sign in. The Google Sheets has kind of been a little bit of a mess recently. So model results right here. This is I've tracked my model for the last 4 seasons. Anytime a model produces a winner, it's highlighted in yellow. So you can see 2021? Nice start. 2022. Or I think this is 2022, 2023, 2024, whatever. It's the past 4 years. I'm just talking quickly. You can see this year got off to a really low start and then it started minting winners. Last year got off to a decent start. This year produced 1 winner, Scottie, and then it's been nothing. With that being said, I think we are very due. Like around this time of the year, both last 2 years, it started really minting winners. So that's just because we're getting a better result of the stats. We're getting more prevalent stats from the tour. Guys are playing more. It's not relying on last season's stats. So I really think these next 8 weeks, we're going to have a really solid results with the model. So as I showed before, you saw who was number 1 in the model. You saw who printed out there. So that brings us to the one golfer that I am on. Who am I playing? Who am I? Who might not you be playing? Who do you want to tail me on if there's anyone? It is. Okay, I see that question. I'll answer it now. This is outright winner. Outright winner only. So anytime this is a yellow, that means they won the golf tournament. That's all I'm saying. And that means that let me also clarify that. I only model like my model only prints out like 1 to 8 guys. I'm not modeling 1 to 75. So any times that model produced the winner, that means it's up here. So right here, like for example, like Ludwig won the Genesis. He was 4th in the model. Scottie won the Amex. He was 1st in the model. All these guys won this event. They were not in the model at all. So what I'm getting at is I do think the model is going to produce winners in the near future. Okay, one golfer that I am on, bang, who is it? Michael Brennan. Michael Brennan is coming in some pretty weak form. He's at a great price, $7,200, and he's not doing anything great. But one thing that we know Michael Brennan does is gain strokes off the tee. More specifically, gain strokes in distance. If Michael Brennan were to have the week Marco Penge had, even with horrible form, and had a great week that Marco Penge had, he would be $8,300 giga chalk. Because everyone knows Michael Brennan's a bomber. Let's play Michael Brennan. He's not. Like, he's a low-owned guy that has the distance, that can pop, that can have that high ceiling. He's already won. He's already flashed on tour. So Michael Brennan is definitely the one golfer that I am going to play. Let's go back through. Let's look at some of these comments before we get out of here. I don't think Toasty is a viable sleeper at all, because I think everyone knows that Toasty's played well here before, and Toasty is a birdie maker. So I'm going to be out on Toasty, and I don't think, like, I think it makes sense for him on paper, but I don't think he's going to be a sleeper. I don't think he's really going to be like going under the radar too much. That's my thoughts on Toasty. Yeah, I mean, this is just another way to potentially look at distance. Club head speed correlates to distance extremely. I think that's T2 at 14.8 going to do it. That's a subjective question. It matters what everyone else does up top. So yeah, definitely can do it at 14.8. Yeah, I hit Jaeger here at what, 50-1 here a few years back. I think this is definitely a Jaeger golf course. I like that as well. I'm not really gonna get too deep in the narratives. Every golfer wants to play well every single week, so I don't think this week is just gonna make them play better. They know they want to play well. Yeah, so I talked about Cantlay last week, and I got a ton of backlash that Cantlay is not going to play well, and he backdoored his finish and definitely could have paid off his price. So who could backdoor top 10 or better this week? Maybe I can give you someone who I think could do that. Let me look at an unserious golfer. Jake Knapp. I think Jake Knapp could backdoor top 10 at $9,500. He would be my answer to that. All right. So the model is cut off top 10 pre-tourney. I'm not sure what this question means. I can go back in the model and explain it again. So how I model is I model out with all my stats. It's usually 10 golfers, basically 10 golfers at most. And if that model produced the winner of the golf tournament, it will get a highlight. So anytime it says NA, that means they were not in the model. Anytime I had the golfer in the model who ended up winning, this shows their rank. So it's as simple as that. But that does it for this week. As always, we got to give you the song of the day. The playlist is available. Birdcage by Holding Absence. Banger. I think you're going to like it. But as always, thank you guys for tuning in. I will be back Thursday with the Showdown Show. Alex and Tambo will be back Wednesday, I believe, for the Leverland Show. Definitely check that out. One of the best shows on the app, on Twitter, on YouTube. So any questions, you know where to find me, and I'll catch you guys soon. Peace out. Ship it.